What's the word, YouTube fam? It's your host, Jay Wade. Welcome back to the channel. And you are now tuning into Wait a Minute TV. Now, wait a minute. Silo Season 2, Episode 10, entitled Into the Fire, has been nothing but trippy. Everything in this episode was edge of your seat. What's going to happen next? Today, I'm going to give you my breakdown of that episode, tell you what my thoughts are, my theories, tell you what I think is going to happen in season 3. Now, without further ado, let's hop right into the breakdown. So I first want to speak on what's going on between Solo and Juliet in his silo. Solo finds a note in his old classroom that says the safeguard procedure. He breaks it down to Juliet that from what he remembers his parents talking about, the safeguard procedure kills people. Solo tells Juliet that the safeguard is a pipe, but he really means a tunnel. Solo tells Juliet that his parents tried to put a cap on it because there's poison that comes out of it. And they both find out that this pipe or tunnel is located on level 14. After this, they hear a big boom and they're wondering where it came from. And this is a boom that came from her silo, which we'll get to what that big bang was in a second. But that's when Solo tells Juliet, look, your time is up. We need to go. So they head back to go get the extra suit back in the vault. But they ended up realizing that the extra suit had holes in it and was ruined. While Juliet is trying to get the rest of the people that are now in the vault to calm down because they're arguing because they're still tripping over Eater, Solo runs off with the fire resistant suit. Juliet thinks he's running off to just take the suit and go. But what he actually is doing is he goes underwater with the suit to make sure it's air sealed tight so that when Juliet does go out in the suit, there is no mishaps and that she's safe. And this shows that he really does truly care for Juliet because at one point in time, he wouldn't even go in the water. So to go in the water to test the suit out says a lot about how he feels about Juliet. Meanwhile, back at Juliet's original silo, Knox and Shirley are planning a rebellion and they approach Juliet's father about helping them out in the rebellion. What they plan on doing is holding off Judicial for about 3 hours so that they can plant bombs on the generator and blow up the generator so that there's no power in the silo. Bernard has Judicial capture the rebels because he's been spying on them via Walker's camera. And so he has them all detained. And at this point in time, he thinks he's essentially stopped this rebellion. Once the rebellion has been detained, Walker has been identified as the snitch in front of Knox, Shirley, and her wife. And her wife doesn't want anything to do with her. What Knox had ended up coming to Juliet's father about was to set off a bomb to blow up the stairs between levels 90 and 92, which he inevitably does, and that is what sets off the rebellion war. Walker reveals to Bernard that they were whole time working right under his nose. They were using sign language while he was spying on them because this was something that Walker taught everybody who worked with her as a kid. So while they're speaking one language in front of Bernard, they're speaking an entirely different language with each other through sign. This is when Walker and Bernard both hear the bomb that Juliet's father set off. And then that's when Bernard just freaks out and starts to panic because he's like, what is that? Soon after this, Lucas reveals to Bernard the truth about the safeguard. We don't hear exactly what he tells Bernard, but we do know it's whatever the safeguard has told him, because he tells Bernard, if it hears us, it will kill us. And so after he finishes telling him this, Bernard just looks in complete shock. And that's when you also see the reaction of Judge Sims seeing Lucas reveal this information to Bernard. Right after that, Sims ends up confronting Lucas about what he told Bernard. He holds Lucas and his mother at gunpoint and threatens to shoot and kill them if he doesn't reveal the information. And Lucas steps right up to that gun like, I ain't scared, man. Look, it's too late. What's done is already done. You can kill me, but that doesn't change the fact that it's over. Look, you need to go check out that legacy before it's too late. And so that's when he then tells Judge Sims what the password is, and Judge Sims is pissed at this point. He's like, I already know what the password is, man. But Judge Sims at this point is like legitimately in shock because he doesn't know what to make of this. And so that's when he goes and he heads down to the legacy, or to the vault, with the key, because the key was already handed to him by Bernard, because Bernard at this point was just fed up. He was through with being the leader of the silo, the head of the silo, whatever you want to call it. He was through. And so he then makes Judge Sims his shadow, even though it doesn't really mean anything at this point. So at this point, Judge Sims, his wife Camille, and their son all end up going to the vault where the AI is. Once Judge Sims gets to the vault, he speaks with the AI, tells the AI, look, man, I want to save the silo. And so that's when the AI tells him, I want to do the same. And so from there, the AI tells him, look, Judge Sims, you and your son, you must leave this vault. But your wife, Camille, she has to stay. And at that point, we see that Camille is like damn near in tears. And she looking like, I don't even know what to make of this. Like, you could tell she's like legit, in shock and kind of scared of what, is to unfold in the future with this AI. Meanwhile, throughout the rest of the silo, the rebels have completely overthrown the silo at this point. The rebels are threatening to go outside. Just when it seems that all hope is lost and that the rebels have overthrown Bernard, Juliet shows up to save the day. And when I mean save the day, I mean like literally save the day. She comes to the camera. Everybody sees her. She starts cleaning the camera. And then she says that it is not safe to come outside. People are cheering, however, saying, Juliet lives, Juliet lives. Bernard hears this, and then he's like, he's looking like, am I hearing that right? So he looks on the camera, and he sees that Juliet is indeed alive. So what does Bernard go do? He suits up immediately. He ends up letting her in because at this point, she's trying to break into the actual silo. And so he lets her in. He confronts her. He meets her at the bottom of the stairwell of the entrance of the silo. And that's when he then confronts her, also pointing a gun at her, threatening to shoot and kill her. And he's like, why are you here? She's like, I'm here because I want to save the silo. I want to keep people from coming outside. It's not safe. And she really doesn't want people of the silo to kill each other. So that's when Bernard goes on his rant, and he's like, everything I sacrificed, it was all for nothing. And that's when Juliet's like, yeah, I know about the safeguard. He's like, you know about that? She's like, yeah. Also, I might have a plan to actually stop the safeguard. And then that's when this door behind them starts to close, almost locking them out. And that's when Juliet and Bernard jump behind the door. And then you see the doors close, lock, and then fire everywhere. So when they say that this episode was entitled Into the Fire, Juliet and Bernard literally were caught in the fire. That's when we do a jump. And at this point, I thought that we had literally jumped to a whole nother show because I didn't know what this was. And we ended up seeing this guy. He's getting scanned. They seem to be in Washington, D.C., because you see the Capitol building in the background. And he's meeting up with this woman. Long story short, he thinks he's there on a date. She's there because she wants to talk about the events of some type of nuclear strike that happened, as we are also assuming it happened in America. And he's like, ma'am, I'm not here to talk about that, but you have a good day. And it seemed throughout the entirety of their time that they were getting along fine until she reveals that she's actually trying to talk to him about this. And so he ends up bidding her a good day, and he gives her a gift, and it's in a brown bag. When she opens this gift, she comes to find out it's a Pez dispenser. The same Pez dispenser that Juliet had. The same Pez dispenser that is now in the ownership of Sim's son. And that's when the episode cuts. So, what are my thoughts and theories? My thoughts are is that this nuclear attack that the woman was referring to, I don't think it happened due to Iran. I truly think that it was set off by AI, and we don't know for sure, but I think that there's some AI that was already built, and the guy she met with had some part in either building the AI or building the silos that are now being used. Although this was a flashback, it didn't give us a lot of context as to what was going on, but we know this was before the silos were in full-fledged use, as far as we know. I think that the AI that puts the safeguard in place is the one who was attempting to lock Juliet and Bernard out. I'm also curious to know what the leadership is going to look like moving forward now that the government in the silo has been toppled. There's no longer a stronghold for judicial. Bernard has seemingly stepped down, and the only one who seems to be in some form of power would be Sim's wife, Camille. So it's going to be very interesting seeing how the power dynamic works in season 3. I do believe we're going to get more flashbacks in season 3 as well. We're going to see more of that couple that we saw before and get bits and pieces of insight on why the silos were created, who created the silos, and whatever this nuclear strike was. I think that overall, the AI is behind all of this. I think that humans have been subjugated to living in these silos via force and fear that was produced by whatever this AI is. I'm blaming it on the AI. This is giving me Terminator Apocalypse vibes for sure. But that's all I have for today. Let me know what your thoughts and theories are down in the comments. Please like, share, and subscribe if you like this content. And until next time, YouTube fam, I'm out.